Good. Okay, so let's kick off this week. Well, actually, before we kick off this week, let's talk about last week because I always like to go back and just recap a little bit. So we talked about customer service. What does that look like? How to have good customer service, how to work full circle, how to really take them from the appointment and continue to build on that relationship with that customer through time and events and different product launches and the new things and all of that stuff. How do you retain your customers the best that you can? Now we all know we can't force anyone to stay with us, but we know we can do a really good job at giving that really good first impression and that great customer service. So that way, if they do happen to slip away, they will always remember you and want to come back. Okay. And so you're setting that impression no matter how long you're going to have them around. So I just want to hear from you guys. What was something that stood out to you about that? What is something that maybe you were doing and maybe you stepped away and decided and thought of like, gosh, I used to do that and I want to go back to doing that. Or I never thought about doing that. What is something that kind of stood out to you on the customer service part? And also just like, is there something that has been, just building in your business as you are going through these weeks? Is there something that's kind of like, what I've noticed since, 3 weeks ago, or when I started implementing this is what I've noticed. Anything that you guys want to share, we just want to kind of get into your world and just see what's been going on. And this is your way to just kind of connect with us. So who wants to go first and just kind of share some aha moments or some kind of light bulbs that went off or fireworks, whatever you guys want to call them. Who is that? I know you guys have stuff to share. Kathy, I know you have something to share because I can see it in your eyes. I can just see it. Not calling
Okay,
people
I'm
out, but I can.
muted. Okay, I am kind of in the vacation mode, but let me
Okay.
pull myself back in to think. I have enjoyed this time of refocus, and I love the word focus because it's taken me into self-reflection, small business owner self-reflection, where I've looked at myself and I've had to say, okay, I've done this, and you have shown me ways that I can improve what I've done. And, I think you can kind of get into a routine and we're doing what we do. But I've looked at what you have shared and I'm like, I could better my game. I could reach out to my customers and continue reaching out to my customers if I just rethink. I love the fact that you really have stressed the idea of continuously don't worry about them being annoyed because they're usually not going to be annoyed. They are glad when you recontact them. Don't worry about being annoying them because they're probably looking forward to that phone call. Like while I've been out here, I've received 3 texts from people that have said, Kathy, I need this or I need that. I thought, I thought to myself, well, why didn't I contact them before I came out here? And maybe I should have taken that step. Just not wait for them to contact me. I contact them first, and then they feel like they're important in my business. They matter. And I think that's what I got from this. Realize that they really want attention from me. They want to know that they're significant and that they're important and that they're more than just a customer. They're a friend and and I have a relationship with them. That's what this has given me.
Yeah. Yeah. They want you to know that they're supporting you,
Yeah.
and they love supporting your business, but they also love our product too. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
a win-win for everyone. So
But they
yeah.
want to know that they matter. Don't you think they really
Yeah.
want to know that they're more than just someone that's buying a product that they love, that I haven't forgotten them and that they're not,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I have learned from this time.
Well, I
Well, and
think that is great.
I
I'm
just love what
sorry,
you brought
Reagan.
up too, as far as just a practical application of when you're about to leave town, about a week before you go. It's a great opportunity not only to go the extra mile of customer service, letting them know you're going to be gone in case they need something. It's also just a great excuse. Any excuse we have, any opportunity we have to just touch base. It's like Tanya's training on coaching our parties. Like, as many opportunities as you have to just be in front of them, communicate with them. And that right there, I'm about to head out of town, just wanted to check in, are you running low on anything before I go? And you can have a big boost of sales that week before you go on your trip, which is awesome.
Yes, that is great point. Great thing to bring up. All right. Anyone else have something they want to share that has been going on in their business, whether it relates to the customer service, which I would love to hear something, that kind of goes hand in hand with what we talked about last week. But if there's something that's been going on since we started this Focus Forward series that you want to just say like, hey, I've noticed this difference in my business happening since I started doing this, please share that too, because you can see those things throughout. They don't all happen at the same time. Just like nobody runs out of their mascara all at the same time. Joyce, you're on mute, sweetie.
Okay. It just left.
Oh no.
I think what I'm talking about the whole thing that we've done so far.
Okay.
I've been in Mary Kay for a couple of years, and so nothing that you have said is I haven't heard those words before. But I think the way that y'all have broken it down, getting back to you can eat an elephant one bite at a time, we're getting bites of this, and it's in the correct order. So now, I mean, I can see where if I were a brand new consultant, you have just set me up to just go. And I think what I've gotten out of it is it's more segmented, or these are little pockets.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the whole thing and said, oh man, when you look at everything, it's so big. I can't do that. It's just too much. I can't do all that. But when you break it down into these smaller bites, you say, well, I can do that. I can do that. And I think for me, I have received more information than I probably have in the past. And I think it's just because you guys broke it down where it's, okay, step 1, 2, 3, this, you do this, you do this. When this happens, you do that. Okay, now we go. And that has made it doable. It's all
Good.
doable.
Yes, absolutely. And I like really believe that we're always in different seasons in our business. And even though we hear these things and we've heard them and we've heard other people speak about it as well, sometimes if you're not in that season to receive something, it can just really like go past you. And then, that's why we like to kind of circle back around, and you may hear these things over and over and over again, but that's because not everybody's ready to receive it at that moment, but they could be ready to receive it when we train about it 2 months from now. Maybe 2 months earlier, they just weren't quite there yet, or they were just trying to grasp the thought of what like they're doing, as a Mary Kay beauty consultant, that they weren't quite ready for the customer service part, or they weren't quite ready for the team building part, or they weren't quite ready for something. But then as they kind of master things, they're ready for the next step. And so I think that's true. It's like, you receive things and you receive them at different times. And doing it in little bite sizes, Joyce, I think is smart to kind of just take things one segment at a time, to just, beef up your skills a little bit too. So thank you for sharing that. Do we have anyone else who wants to share? And Jennifer, let's hear from you.
I guess it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Anyway, whenever Secretary's Day was, I took those little samples of the satin hands and then a sample of lip gloss, and I stuck my business card in there, and I just kind of set it on their desk and just kind of walked off. And I had a lady register on my website, And
Cool.
because she registered on my website, I took her a gift card of $10 off her first order. And when I went to hand it to her, she said, "How long does it take for if you have need to place an order? How long does it take for you to get the product in?" I said, "Within about 3 or 4 days, sometimes 5 days." And she said, "Great, I'm fixing to place an order." And I said, "Oh, okay, fantastic." And then I look and she had placed an order and it was over $100 because she's getting ready to go on a cruise.
Oh, nice. Yay, way to go. So you're out there planting seeds and you know what? Something grew from that, right? And you just never know.
Yeah.
Some seeds are going to take and some seeds aren't. And that seed took, and that's a new customer for you. But it was you putting yourself out there, Jennifer, and putting, letting nobody knows you have a business until you say you have a business, right? If you don't talk about your
Yeah.
business, nobody knows you have a business, right? And so that's exactly what you did, Jennifer. And I just want to give you kudos for that, because I know sometimes it's not easy to suit up and show up and tell people about your business and give out goodies. Sometimes that's not easy for us to do. And so when you just put your lap out there, things always come back. And it's something that, is able to get blessed when you have something put out there, right? And so that's what you did. So way to go, Jennifer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have anything else that they would like to share from this past week? Okay, so we are going to go ahead and just get kicked off for this week. We have something really exciting to talk about, and I love this subject because we all know Mary Kay Ash's birthday is coming up on May 12th. And one thing, and you have heard this over and over again, all she ever asked us to do was to pass it on. And so I'm really excited for this this segment, this series, whichever we want to call it, this focus for tonight on team building and just what is behind the scenes of team building. Because sometimes we can hear the word team building and we're like, oh yeah, I'm out. I'm gonna go grab me a Coke. I'll be over here. Or it's time to eat dinner. I'm gonna just go ahead and black out my screen. And you hear that word and you kind of shy away from it. But I want you guys to really open up your hearts and your mind for this focus that we're going to focus on tonight, and come at it at a different angle. I want you guys to come at it from a different set of ears, okay? And to hear what we're saying with a different set of ears and to see it with a different set of eyes, and erase anything that you have in your mind about team building that is not serving you. So, are you scared? Are you fearful? You don't like rejection? You don't know who to ask. Nobody wants what you have. Anything like that. I want you guys to just go delete, 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 delete. And I want you to erase all of that so you can have a very clear mind to open up and focus on what we're going to talk about tonight. And we're going to plant some new seeds for you. Okay. Anybody have those seeds that have been there for 5 years and nothing's growing? And it's probably because you're not watering them. Yeah. Okay. We're going to start a whole new plant. And that's what I want you guys to focus on tonight is we're going to start a whole new plant. And you're going to start from today and you're going to start watering that plant. Okay. We're not going to think about the past. We're not going to worry about the past. We're not going to look back because we're not going there anymore. And we're going to start a whole brand new plant. Everybody on board with me? Everybody think they can do that? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're like, yeah, I'm on board. I can do this. All right. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and let Reagan kick us off on our first part of this and get some pen and paper out and some notes, because it's not what's taught, it's what's caught, and you never know what you're going to hear. So Reagan, you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tanya. And I do love sharing about team building in Mary Kay because this really is a people business. And there are a lot of reasons why we team build. And so we want to start with that. And then we're going to get into the who and then the how. And so the first thing is why team build. I don't know about you, but I am one of those people that I really like to understand the why. If I'm going to put my time and energy into something, if I'm going to learn about something, it's like when I am learning how to play a new card game, I like you to tell me the how you win part first. Like, what is the goal? Am I supposed to get all of the cards? Am I supposed to get rid of all my cards? How do I win? Tell me that. And then I can get my brain to follow along with the process of getting from point A to point B, right? And so I want to share with you why we team build in Mary Kay, so that you are ready to for the new seeds to be planted. And the first reason, Tanya already mentioned that, and that is because Mary Kay asked us to. If you have not already read her autobiography, I really encourage you to do that. If you ordered the starter kit as a new consultant, it came in your starter kit. You can get it on Amazon very easily. And I recommend not only that you read it, but that you read it every single year, because you will be in a different place and ready to receive new information and new perspective. When I became a consultant, well, first of all, I grew up in Mary Kay, as I think all of you know. My mom was in the business since before I was born. And so I grew up watching her go through all these steps that we're teaching you in this focus series. This is what she did day in and day out. And because she did these basic skills consistently, day in and day out, year after year, she was the number one national sales director in all of the United States when she retired. And she had earned, over $9 million. Y'all, like this is what will bring you not only financial freedom and success, but this is also where our Mary Kay family came from. So many of the most influential people in my life came because my mom was willing to pass it on. And of course, Mary Kay started it. She started it back in 1963 with the company. She took all of the risk. Y'all, when we start this business, there's no risk. We have a 100% buyback guarantee on all of our products, right? Our 100% satisfaction guarantee on all of our products. We have a 90% buyback guarantee on our inventories. Our risk is a $30 e-start or a $130 start where we get over $450 worth of retail product. I mean, if you just took out a miracle set and used it yourself and burned everything else, you come out ahead. So we have basically no real risk in building this business. Mary Kay gave her life savings to start this company. Her entire life savings. And she was in retirement. There was no plan B. There was no other source of income. She was a single mom. Her husband, who was going to start the company with her, it was actually her third husband, died right before they were supposed to open the doors to the company. And she went ahead anyway. So y'all, I just want you to have some perspective here, because Mary Kay started this company after she had already been divorced. A man, her first husband and the father of her children, had an affair when he came back from the war and left her with the 3 kids. And to my knowledge, there was no support. There really wasn't even such a thing as child support back then, like legally mandated. Okay. Her second husband was, this was actually her second husband who passed away, that was going to start the company with her, and died of a heart attack right before they were supposed to open. And then her third husband, Mel Ash, was the one that so many people knew and loved in Mary Kay, because he married her after the company was already becoming quite successful, and he loved her and supported her. And then he died. And so y'all, she went through a lot of challenges. She went through a lot of what could have seemed hopeless situations. She went through a lot of things that we would use as an excuse to hold us back. And she overcame countless obstacles to make this company a possibility for us. And so when women would come to her with just tears rolling down their face, and you can hear so many women tell their stories even today that knew her, met her, loved her, that their experience with the company changed their lives. And they would come to her, just tears rolling down their eyes, and say, Mary Kay, how could I ever repay you? Because of this business, it has changed my life. It has changed who I am. It has changed the trajectory of the opportunities for my family for generations to come. It has broken the cycle of abuse. It has broken the cycle of poverty. Like all of these real life stories that women would come to Mary Kay, and all she ever would say is she would take your face in her hands and she would look right at you and say, pass it on. That's what she did. So she made all these sacrifices. And when we think, how could I ever repay her? That's how, by continuing to share this very rare, very unique, very God-centered and God-inspired business with other women. Okay, so that's the first reason. The second reason is because it is the way to take full advantage of all of the opportunities that this company is giving you to earn income. All right. And so why would we leave money on the table? Why would we say, oh, you're offering me $1,000 a month, but I'm good with just 50? Right? Why would we take less than what the company wants to offer us? And so because the company does not go out and hire, they do not actively go out and put up on whatever, what are all those different companies that are always hiring people, like where you can put your resume and stuff like that. We are the HR department. We are the hiring department. And so that is why the company, instead of paying other people to go out and, kind of outsourcing the hiring and the training and all that, they want to pour that opportunity and pour that income into the sales force. And what's really amazing about that is that means that when you are trained by a sales director, by a national sales director, you're being trained not by someone who had a good looking resume or knew somebody at corporate or whatever. You are being trained by women who have literally done what you're being taught to do again and again and again and again. So the stability, the integrity, the proof is in the pudding. We know that this plan works because we've done it and we've seen it and the results are there. And so next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about what leadership can look like, and what all of the different earning potential is. But I do want to show you, I'm going to share the screen with you just really quickly, because I do want to make sure that you know where you can go on InTouch. Okay, so this is InTouch right here, and you can go into education and you scroll down on how to team build. All right. And when you get to that, there is a place here that's team building on Mary Kay University. So you can learn information. It's pretty much going to be all this stuff. I'm sure I haven't watched it in a while, but it's probably going to be mostly what Cheryl and Tanya and I are sharing with you tonight. There's some really cool videos that you can share with other people, lots of great pointers. And if you go to supporting materials, I wanted you to see that there is a really cool flyer. There's a bunch of cool stuff. But if you go down here to the Steps to Success brochure, and you open that, it's a PDF. You can print it or save it onto your computer. And this actually walks you through the different commissions that you earn at different levels in the company. And so I do want to take a minute, and even if you never ever team build, if you don't think you ever even want to team build, I do want to make sure that you understand why we are not a multi-level marketing plan, okay? People think that we are an MLM because we are in direct sales. And so, yes, we are in direct sales. No, we are not an MLM. And no, we are not a pyramid company. First of all, pyramid companies are actually illegal. So when people are like, oh, that's a pyramid company. Well, that's definitely not true. And when people say, oh, I just don't like MLMs, or, oh, I've been in one before and, whatever. And I just say, oh my gosh, really? Well, it's so funny that you say that. Everybody assumes that we're an MLM too, and we're actually not. And usually, and I'll just kind of leave that. And then people will say, really, what's the difference? And I say, well, we're actually a dual marketing system. That is a marketing plan that Mary Kay Ash created. It is taught at Harvard Business School. It is taught that Mary Kay Ash created the dual marketing system. And so what that means is that you've got back in the day when I started explaining this in my 20s as a new director, I would talk about the Twin Towers in New York. And so I need to come up with maybe y'all can put in the chat, a better example, because that's a sad example now. But you had the two Twin Towers. And so one tower right here, that's corporate Mary Kay. All right. So that's the CEO and the COO and the VP of marketing and the VP of, product development and all that. Then you have the sales force. All right. And the sales force is consultants, directors, and national sales directors. Now, you do not go, corporate people do not switch over to the sales side, and sales force people do not switch over to the corporate side. It is just a one lateral movement up on whichever side of the company you're on. All right. The other thing that is that completely separates us is that every consultant at every level makes 50% commissions. Every consultant. So you, if you are brand new, if you are a brand new consultant listening to this today, you make 50% commissions. You buy the product for $1 and you sell it for $2. Okay. Now, I've been in this business for 25 years. I'm a senior sales director. And when I buy the product for $1 and I sell it for $2, I also make 50%. National sales directors, same thing. They buy the product for $1, they sell it for $2, they double their money, right? And then the next way that we make our income that's so unique is that then as we team build, the company side from their profits not only does that 50%, but then they also give you team building commissions anywhere from 4 to about 26%. It actually kind of goes up based on bonuses. It can be a lot. Fancy math people do fancy math. I don't. But it can go from 4% up to 26% plus loads of bonuses and things like that as you move up into leadership, because the company knows that the leadership are the ones that are investing their time not only in selling their own product, but also teaching and sharing and helping other consultants share their product. And so that is why, another reason why you want to team build is because the company will pay you not only for selling the product, but for sharing and passing it on and then helping your team learn how to do it. Now, what I loved as a new consultant, somebody who had no intentions of going into leadership, I had no intentions of making this my full-time career or being a sales director. But what I did see and what I did like was the fact that I could build a team, make those commissions, and not actually be responsible for their training. I did not have to know what the heck I was doing to be able to start building a team and making some commissions. I could choose to not move into that leadership position of director, and I would still make anywhere from 4 to 9 to 9%. I think now you can make up to 13. Yeah, 13%. Without even taking on the responsibilities of a sales director. That made sense to me. And so we want you to know that you may not just want to make this your full-time career. You may not want to take on the responsibilities, or you may not feel ready quite yet. That's perfectly fine. You can still team build, and then your responsibility really is to just be a running buddy. You don't need to be a coach. You don't need to have all the answers. Your role is actually to just get her connected, that new team member, show her where InTouch is. And if you don't know how to get to InTouch, say, our director knows how. Here's her number. Show her where MK University is. And if you don't know where it is, say, call the director. She knows where. You're the one that can say, hey, I'm going to be on the Zoom tonight. Are you getting on? Oh, I hope you will. I look forward to seeing your lovely face. You're the one that helps to just build that bridge of getting her connected into something that she's maybe feels a little bit uncomfortable about, maybe unsure of. I mean, sometimes people won't get on a Zoom because they're afraid because they just don't know what's going to happen once they get on. But your extra little nudge of like, I'm going to be there. It's really easy. It's super laid back. Just come check it out. You know, it's not a big deal. You're going to learn a lot. My director's great. She's not super scary. You know, like those are the kinds of things that we really count on you as the recruiter to do, is to help bring her into the fold and be her buddy. Okay. That's really the first step. Okay. And that leads to the third reason why we love to team build. And that is because it's just more fun. It is more fun to do with a friend, right? It is more fun to bake a cake with a friend. It is more fun to clean out your closet with a friend. It is more fun to go for a jog with a friend. And what's really cool, some of you may be like, actually, I really prefer to jog by myself. And that's okay too, because we are self-employed. We are independent, but it really does light such a spark of enthusiasm and joy and fun and excitement when you are passing it on. And if you have never had a new team member who's really excited about what she's learning and what this business and just blown away by the opportunity and how different it is here than anywhere else, then it's because you haven't tried it yet. And so we just want to challenge you to give it a try, to go out there and share. And so we're going to talk more about that this week. We're going to talk a little bit more next week. And so the last thing that I'm going to talk about before I pass this over to Cheryl is, okay, so who do I share this with? And so the first instinct is everybody. Just share with everybody, because you don't have any idea who is looking and even praying for an opportunity like this. It is very common to find out after the fact that someone started this business and that her recruiter had no idea that she had been praying for a way to make a little bit of extra money and take the pressure off of her husband. Or maybe she had been desperately trying to find a way to make some income so that she could get out of an abusive situation. Or maybe she had all the money that she needed, but she was lonely. Maybe she just simply had gotten bored and she didn't know how she could challenge herself and use all of her gifts and talents and brains because she was so busy, wiping noses and changing diapers and doing carpool. And she didn't want to give any of that up. Not 1 second, not one runny nose. But she really wanted something more. She really wanted to utilize the gifts that God gave her in a way that she had given up, maybe with a career that she had before she had kids. You just simply do not know who is looking for this. And so that is why we really do not want to prejudge people and assume that they do not want what we have to offer. However, I will say it is a great idea to pre-qualify. So let me explain to you what I mean by that. And it is kind of tricky. Like, how do I not prejudge and yet pre-qualify? And so when I say pre-qualify, what I mean is, are you being intentional in looking for the kind of people that you really want on your team? So some things that my mom would always say is, if you wouldn't share a toothbrush and a bed with her, then don't recruit her, because we're about to go to seminar here in a couple of months and we are roommates. It's so much fun. Now you can get your own room at seminar if you want to. It's just a lot more expensive, but we love the girlfriend time. It's a big slumber party, but don't recruit somebody that you don't like to be around, right? If you wouldn't want to share a bed with her, you probably shouldn't add her to your team. If you don't feel good when you're in her space, like if she's just mean or critical or catty or gossipy, she may not be the right person for your team. If she does not have an open mind, now she does not need to look like a polished supermodel, right? She does not need to know everything about makeup. Most of our most successful women in all of the company, including my mom, our national, including the #1 national in the world, Gloria Mayfield Banks, before she retired, never wore makeup when they were recruited. Okay, so I'm not talking about having to go find somebody who's already a professional makeup artist, glamour girl, has everything totally figured out. But is she coachable? Is she teachable? Is she somebody who has a hunger for self-improvement? Is she willing to step out of her comfort zone in some small way? She can be shy. She can be outgoing. It doesn't matter, but it needs to be someone who you feel like really, really proud that she represents the company that you represent. Right? Because we are in the cosmetic industry. We are in the skincare industry. It is an image industry. And you do not have to be a glamour girl to have a powerful image. Some of my closest friends are, super athletic, natural, always in a ponytail and yoga pants and like that. I've never seen them in anything else but that. And yet, man, when they walk in a room, I want to be in their space. I want to know what they're up to. I love their feedback and their opinions on things. I love seeing how they carry themselves and impact the people around them. Okay, so you're looking for women who have just that something about them that's amazing and powerful and loving and kind and open. And so what I really encourage you to do is to make a list of the qualities of the kind of people that you want in your life. Okay. And so this is just a little side note. It's not in our official homework, and don't do it right now necessarily, because we're going to be moving on. And I want you to hear every word of what Cheryl and Tanya has to say, but maybe just in wherever you're writing notes, put a little star next to make a list of my dream team. Who are the people that you might have? I want to know qualities. And then if somebody comes to your mind, write their name down before it leaves you again. But think of the qualities of the people that you want to be around. And then what I want you to do is I want you to think about who are the people you know who have those qualities. And another thing that you might consider doing is actually giving yourself, kind of scoring yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 of yourself with those qualities. Do you carry those qualities and represent those qualities when you're out and about? So if you want someone who does not gossip, how are you with that? If you want someone who does not complain, who has a really great positive attitude, how's that? How are you? Do you represent that? Because you will attract what you are, and you will become more and more like the people that you spend time with. And so you really want to be intentional about what you're leaking, right? How the energy that you're giving, because that is what you're going to attract more to you. And so if you're finding that you're not loving the people that you're around, it's okay to make a decision that you're going to start changing that. And that doesn't mean that you need to, be ugly about, maybe doing some pruning in your life. But when you start making time and focusing energy on finding the people who have the qualities of the kind of people that you want to be and the kind of people you want to be around, then naturally and organically, you will get so busy doing those productive, amazing things with quality people that your time is going to fill up, and you're going to be able to naturally prioritize those relationships and those people. And so those are some thoughts that I have on why we want to pass it on and who we are looking for to pass it on to. And now I'm going to pass this over to Miss Cheryl.
Thanks, Reagan. So, great job as always, Reagan. I could listen to you all day long, and it's like, we're either brand new in this business, watching this as you are learning everything, or we're sales directors and we've been in for a long time. And all of this is always so good to hear. So the why we do it, the who we look for, all very important. But let's move into okay, that all sounds great, but how do we do this, Cheryl? How? So before I get into some very basics that Mary Kay taught us on how to do this, I want to ask you to think about, how were you introduced to the Mary Kay opportunity? How was the information shared with you? Why did you say yes? What did that process look like? And for each of us, it might be similar and different, all in the same, because nobody's story is the same. And everybody's journey to get into Mary Kay is different. But I bet that there are some elements in all of our stories that are similar. And I will use mine as an example before I go into my tips of just what to remember and how to do this. So when I came into Mary Kay, I had a facial with a Mary Kay sales director, and I was a bridal lead. So she had generated leads at a vendor event. She had called me to book a facial. She had offered that I bring friends, but I have a few friends, but I ride solo a lot. So it was just me and her. I had my facial, I became a customer. That was step one. I started using the skincare, and I went into that appointment, by the way, saying, I am not going to buy anything. I'm just going to be nice. Well, by golly, our product is amazing. And she was amazing. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Okay. Remember that I was very drawn to who she was as a person. I started using the product. She scheduled me for a follow-up appointment, right? I came back a few weeks later and we did makeup and we got to play with glamour. She asked me how I was doing with my skincare. We did the follow-up appointment, and it was supposed to be a glamour night, like guest event that she did with another director. I just so happened to be the only guest there. So it was like a one-on-one facial again. But what she told me is she said, we're going to sit and eat this pizza that I always get for my glamour nights. And now is the opportunity that I usually share some facts about my Mary Kay business. Is it okay with you if I still do that? And I said, absolutely. You do your job. I'm going to eat my pizza and I will listen. Right before that point, I was not interested in Mary Kay as a business because I didn't know what I didn't know. Does that make sense? Do I have a very strong entrepreneurial spirit? Yes. Was I the type of woman that was looking for this opportunity and I didn't know it? Absolutely. She did her job to just share the facts with me, to get my wheels turning. So many people, like Reagan said, don't really know what we do and what the benefits are. And it was not overcomplicated. It was like, here are the 6 reasons why women consider a Mary Kay business. And I don't even know what the rest was. But again, I was just listening to her and I was intrigued. And then she asked me what my interest level was. And she used a scale of 1 to 10. And I said an 8. You guys, I remember all this like it was yesterday. She was very good at what she did because she did what I am about to teach you. And she did it beautifully. And I never felt like she was trying to recruit me ever. She was giving me information and I was making all of the decisions based on what I wanted for my life. So I was an 8. I did not sign up that night. She did not ask me if I wanted to, or maybe I probably said I have to go home and think about it or ask somebody, or like, she gave me the pink pillow test, sleep on it, and I'll call you in 24 hours, whatever that looked like. Well, anyway, point is about 3 days later, she met me for coffee to answer any questions that I had. And she had sent me home with some information and a video to watch. And so I did that because I am an excellent student. Okay, not everybody's going to do that, but I did that because I am the detail-oriented person that likes to know all the stuff. I met her for coffee. I had like 3 questions. And a day later, or later that night, I signed my beauty consultant agreement. I was in. Had she not, at my glamour appointment, said, would it be okay with you if I shared some information about Mary Kay? I don't know how that would have gone. I really don't. But she did her job to share with anybody. And I hope that she found something in me that she thought I would love this woman on my team. Second thing that you may want to know is she was in qualification to earn her first Cadillac in Mary Kay. And what little did I know that I was a big part of her goal. So when we have big goals and big dreams in our business, we don't let anybody slip through the cracks. So think about that too. What is it that you're working toward in your business that gives you the drive to make sure that you work everybody that you get in front of full circle? That's another thing. Do we get lazy and kind of are like, well, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Well, it matters when you're moving and grooving in this business, and it mattered to her. And without tooting my own horn, I will tell you, I was an intricate part of that earning of that Cadillac in those last couple of months that I had no idea what was going on. I was just an excited new consultant working on my Power Start, right? So that was my experience of coming into this company, and it was very positive. One thing I want to go back to is her. I was intrigued by her, the type of woman that she was. And like Reagan said, I'm not talking about you having to be the most poised, put together, glamorous, like perfect person to attract others. But she reminded me of my cousin that I really look up to, who's about 5 years older than me. And I thought, you know what, if the women in Mary Kay are like this, I think that there's something to this. And there was a Mary Kay car in the driveway, and she had a beautiful home, and she had left her captain in the Air Force job to be a Mary Kay sales director. I'm like, okay. And I'm just doing the satin hands at the sink during all this, right? And I'm like, okay, I like you. All right. Anyway, that was my journey. So how do we do that? How do we then take that person from, I was just a lead from an event, all the way into becoming her offspring sales director, right? Not saying that everybody that recruit is going to become an offspring sales director, but I did, right? And so in our appointments, what are the things that we can do? This is the how part. And Mary Kay taught something called the 4-point recruiting plan. And that's what I'm going to teach you. And I remember this information from when my adopted sales director, Laura Lothry, taught me this. And I laugh because I still remember it, 14 years later, right? How do you remember these 4 points? And it's like, I don't want you to go into your appointments thinking, oh my gosh, Cheryl taught the 4-point recruiting plan and I don't remember the 4 points. So I should just quit, right now. No. Just understand how this works in. So point number 1, and this is what Laura had me do as a new consultant. So if you have your paper with you, you're going to draw little pictures. So point number 1, I want you to draw a little owl to the best of your ability, like the bird, like an owl. Okay. And what does an owl say? An owl says, who, who. So the first point is who. Okay. So Mary Kay taught us that most of our team members should be met and started the layering process from a skincare class. Okay. Or a facial. So this is in regards to a skincare class. And the who of point number 1 is asking your hostess while you're setting up for the party and while you guys are getting everything together, who is coming tonight that you think would be great at what I do? I am working on building my team in Mary Kay. I'm looking for some really sharp women. Talk to me about your friends. And the second point of that is to ask her, what about you? And she'll probably say no, but you've planted a seed. And then it goes from there. So now the hostess is like, okay, I'm going to watch what she does because she thinks I'll be good at it. And I would never do something like this, but I'm going to watch her anyway. All right. So that's point number 1, who. Point number 2, I want you to draw an eye. An eye. Okay. Point number 2 is your heartfelt I story. And Reagan did an amazing job already teaching this, so I don't need to teach it. I just need to remind you what she taught you in the opening of your class, your facial, anything. Why I was so intrigued by my recruiter is because she told me about her. She told me about why she's in Mary Kay, what she's working on, about her family. I don't even remember what she said. I remember some of it, but I connected with her in that. That was the first big step of me wanting to be a part of this company, was finding a connection with the person in front of me. Heartfelt I story. Okay. Number 3, I want you to draw like a little ice pick. Ice pick. Okay. Pick is for pick one person at each appointment that you're at that possesses those qualities that Reagan talked about, for you to have that courageous, bold moment of asking her more about the opportunity, asking her if this would be something she'd be interested in, asking her if she'd be willing to have coffee with you, whatever that looks like. You got to pick somebody, be bold and pick somebody. I was the only somebody there, so she picked me, right? But hopefully I would have been picked out of a crowd of people too, that I would have been honored by that, right? And so the 4th one, I want you to draw a present, like a little gift wrapped box. And the 4th point is a gift. And this is kind of like buttering up the offer here, because again, just like me, a lot of people don't know if this is something that they want to do. So they can be very quick to just kind of say, oh, no, thanks. I think this is great for you, but it's not for me. So how do we get them to learn more? How do we get them to listen? We can offer things, gifts. So maybe it's you offering the hostess, well, anybody that you do refer to me that joins my team tonight, I'll give you a $50 gift certificate for you to use with me for Mary Kay products. That is a gift to the hostess. Now the hostess is becoming like your partner of, I'm going to find her some team members, because maybe she wants to, maybe she doesn't, but you're offering that. Or maybe so you are at the individual consultation with somebody. It's the person that you picked that you're like, I really want this person on my team. And you say, is this something you would ever consider? And she says, oh, I'm not really sure. You think I have the time for it? And she starts throwing all that out. Well, what can you do in order to encourage her without being pushy? Because we're not pushy at all. We just need to give them the information. We want to connect with them. We want them to be educated. Offer her a gift, number 1, for spending time with you and learning. And even after that, say, if it's not for you, I always have a great gift certificate for those that might refer somebody else to me that might be interested in this opportunity. So offering those gifts, does that make sense on that one? That is point number 4. So you have your owl, your eye, your ice pick, and your gift. And I remember that for 14 years. And so those are your 4 points. So if all you can think is like owl, you'll be like, whoo. So the point is, you guys, of the 4-point recruiting plan that Mary Kay taught us is we utilize our appointments to layer team building, to layer our connection with the women that we're in front of, to layer information, to layer the fact that we are looking for sharp women, that we are looking for, women who are looking for something more. And all that becomes a layer through this 4-point recruiting plan. Some people are going to sign up at the appointment. They're ready to go. Some people are going to need more information. They're going to want to have coffee with you. They're going to want to have questions, they're going to have questions. Some people are going to take even longer in the process. And so this is not a one and done, like if she doesn't sign up at the appointment, she's not going to do this. Layering, layering, layering. So the other biggest part, 2 parts about how do we team build is number 1, we continue to follow up and to invite them to things and to expose them to how amazing our company is until they have enough information or they can make that decision, yes or no. And there are things within our power that your director can teach you how to do during that process, because the great thing about team building when you're a new consultant is all you have to do is get people in front of your director to share the information. Okay. I just so happened to be at a facial with a director. So she didn't need to coordinate with her director. But that's what we do with our consultants is you are meeting the people, seeing the faces, and you're just bringing them to us where we get to share that information. We get to ask the questions. We get to overcome that. And that is a learning process for you. That is one of my favorite learning things to do with consultants is to teach them how to share this business and to watch women go from not understanding what Mary Kay is about to being really wowed by what we do with all of that stuff that Reagan talked about with our dual marketing and just all of the reasons why women should be a part of Mary Kay. You can take someone from a 0 interest level to an I'm in a 45-minute coffee appointment if they are the right type of person to be on your team. And that's what we want to teach you how to do so that when you have the confidence and you've done that enough times that you can do it yourself. Okay. And so layering is so important. They might sign up then, they might sign up later, they might sign up a year later, but you are just until they say, no, never, please don't ask me again. Nobody really does that. I mean, some people do. We honor that, but leave the door open. Okay. And then just know, because I think that team building can be we can get ourselves very emotionally involved in people's answers of yes or no, whether they want to be our team. She said no, therefore she doesn't like me. No, that's not true. Although I had to really have that type of personal growth for the first 1.5 years of my business. That was one of my biggest growth areas, was not taking people's answers personally, that it was about what I chose to do or me as a person, that it was just their choices, that I needed to just give them the choice to give me an answer, yes or no. And my job was to educate them as to what the opportunity was. And so that's one way that you can kind of take away that emotion of team building is it's not personal, whether they decide to be on your team or not. It's not about you ever. Okay. And the other thing is that we need to share with enough people, because as we've talked through this Focus Forward series about booking and about appointments holding, it's mathematical. Team building is just as mathematical as everything else. And so if you share with 2 people and you don't end up with team members and you say, well, okay, this doesn't work, so I'm not going to do any more of those sharing appointments. Well, you didn't do enough of them for the numbers to work out. So in general, 1 out of 5 of the women that you fully share the business with will decide to be on your team, 1 in 5. So as you look at your team building goals and you say, I would love to, as we talk, the career path next week, I would love to have 3 team members on my team to be a red jacket and to start making those extra commissions and bonuses. It's not going to take just 3 sharing appointments to get there. Okay, it's going to take 15. So who on your list is going to make up that 15 so that your numbers work out? And I think that, people can surprise us or disappoint us. They're either going to sign up and join your team and you were like, I thought she would never do it. I was just doing my job and sharing, and I think she's great, but whoa, I'm like freaking out here. Or you think that somebody is so perfect for this and you want the world for her and she doesn't join your team, and there's a moment of disappointment. It can go one way or the other. And so people can surprise or disappoint you, but those numbers never lie. And that's why we track these things. And so I want to encourage you to just continue to share so that your numbers work out. And if your numbers are not working out, it's probably just mathematical that you just need more people to talk to. And so that's how you do it, you guys. And again, you do it with your director. And we're going to talk about that in your homework, okay? With your director, with your director, with your director, until we kick you out of the nest. And Tanya, who I'm going to pass it over to in just about 30 seconds, you guys, I went through the whole process of bringing her, being a part of bringing her. She's not my personal team member, but I was her director before she became my offspring director. And I forgot where I was going with that totally, but I'll think of it in just a minute. But I'm going to, Reagan, if you'll bring her on in the spotlight. I really lost my train of thought on that, but
I think you were going to say that you basically did all my sharing appointments because I threatened to leave the company.
She did. She did.
Mm-hmm.
She said, if you make me do these by myself, I quit. You guys, I did 47 for her until she, it was awesome. It was amazing. And she, as she's going to talk about, is an outstanding team builder in this company. Far surpassed my skill level, you guys. And that's what we want for our students and our offspring. And so anyway, thank you for letting me share that part of it. And Tanya, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, so Cheryl says I'm like fabulous and fantastic and all this stuff, but I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. Like, I don't have any secrets. Honestly, I could tell you one thing that I feel really makes a difference when it comes to team building is making that decision. It boils down to making that decision and how powerful that can be when you make that decision. It almost is out of your hands. Like, it's almost out of control. It's almost like it's an outer body experience where you've made that decision and your heart and your mind say, okay, we got this. And all of a sudden you're saying things and you're asking and you're shocked that the words are even coming out of your mouth the way that they are, because that's exactly what happened. I made a decision, and I'm going to say that we talk about these conferences and we talk about attending these conferences. And I know a lot of times people are just like, it's one ear and out the other. And I get it. But that going to the conferences are what really, really can set you on a totally different path that you were never expecting in a million years. And I am like living proof of that. I did not go to seminar wanting to team build. I actually went to seminar to figure out, is this where I need to be? Is this where God wants me to be in this company? That's the mindset I went to seminar. I left seminar with a tracking sheet for Court Sharing. Never once had the thought of doing Court Sharing, the desire to do Court Sharing, the need, the want, anything to do Court Sharing. And I left seminar with a tracking sheet from a vendor booth to track for Court Sharing 24 new personal team members. And It was all based on a conference. I went there with an open heart and an open mind saying, I just want to receive what you are giving me, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to be obedient. No matter what that is, whether I like it or I don't like it. And I was literally drawn to Court of Sharing from that. So I was put in a position to do something that I had no desire to do, but where I was guided to, not by anybody, but literally God himself. It was him who put my hand on that tracking, because there was so many other trackings, so many others, like Court of Sales, done that. That was an easy tracking sheet I could have grabbed for free, because I could get a free tracking sheet for what I purchased. There was so many. There was car, there was Court of Sales, there was like, it's just so like building reds, all this stuff. And no, the one I grabbed was that. So my point is, attending conferences may not always be convenient financially, or maybe in your schedule. Maybe it's not your priority, but maybe it should be. Because if something like that could happen from attending, what's there to lose, right? Not going, you'll never know what you could have gotten from that, or you never know what that gift could have been that was going to be given to you had you shown up. And so one is just showing up to hear the things that you don't really know yet what is going to be heard. You don't sometimes know what you're going for, and you don't know what you're going to get out of it. And it's being open to that. And then it's leaving, and it's having, having a decision, making a decision of what you are going to move forward to do. And that's really what it was for me, is it was a decision that I made. And that year I did Court of Sharing, and I shared with everyone that I facialed. And I asked the bold questions because I had a mission. I was given a mission, and I was being obedient, and I knew it was something that I needed to do. And so I had some urgency behind it. And so I would just ask. I would just simply ask as I, would take their order, and I'm done taking their order, done taking their payment. And, so Jessica, so what do you think? Is this something that you would like to do? After watching me for the past, 2 hours, do you think this is something you would like to join? Would you like to be a part of my unit? Because I would love to have you. Is this something that you would enjoy? Like, I just was boldly asking. And if they were like, well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I thought it. Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about it. It sounds great. Was there any reason why you couldn't start tonight? No, there's really not. Okay, great. Let me get my laptop for you. I'd sit her down on my laptop, get her signed up. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and go close out Desiree. Okay, while you fill this out. And then if you have any questions, let me know. And then Desiree would come sit down, and I'm like, hey, Desiree, did you have a lot of fun? Yay, I had so much fun with you. You have such an awesome personality, because she did. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell people, not blowing smoke up there. You know what? I will tell them something that I liked about him. And if she was cracking me up the whole time, I would tell her, you cracked me up the whole time, and I would just love to have you in my space. Have you ever considered having a Mary Kay business and doing what I do? If I was to teach you, would you be willing to try? And it was just being bold to pull out my laptop, have them do it right then and there, and then for those that weren't ready, maybe scheduling that coffee to maybe walk them through a little bit more, talk to them about it a little bit more. Or maybe if it wasn't even the coffee, was inviting them to the next event, like Cheryl said, to give them more exposure to our company and our culture of what we have, because what we have is very unique. So it was asking right away, and being willing to pull out your laptop, or being willing to pull out, your iPad or whatever you have, at that moment, and just being bold. Because if it's no big deal to you, it's no big deal to them. if you're just like, hey, you know, if I was to teach you everything that I just did, would you be willing to give this a shot? And so if I'm not worried, if I'm not shaking, if I'm not like, oh my God, if you are, would you be willing to do this? Because it's so much fun. Like, look, you just hold the moisturizer like this, you know, like if you're not scared, if you're just like, hey, you know, if I was to teach you everything that I just did, would you be willing to give this a try? Is there any reason why you cannot start tonight? And just that bold and that confidence, you guys. So, okay, so attend the conferences. Attend the conferences. Open up your heart and open up your mind. Make that decision and then be bold. That's really all it was. I didn't have no secret sauce. I didn't have no secret words. I just knew that, well, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing because now I have this tracking sheet that I need to fill out. And now that this is what I have and I came home with, and this is what he's saying the answer is. He's not telling me run. Well, actually he did, but he told me to run towards the thing that I had been resisting for a long time. So he had me run in the direction of what I was resisting, not run away. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So your secret word is keep it simple, sweetie, which is also known as KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, sweetie. That is going to be your secret word. And your homework is going to be to get with your director and schedule 6 sharing appointments within the next 2 weeks. And I want you to write the word 6 equals bold. 6 equals bold with director next 2 weeks. Okay. And then we will also be emailing you guys as well some resources like the career path brochure, how to ask with the scripts on how to ask them to listen to the opportunity with you, and also the It Just Fits flyer, because if your director is not available and she's in front of you, you pull that flyer out and you go through point 1, 2, 3, and 4. You read it with her. You show her this is how easy it is to share the company and what we do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Out of all this, what's your interest level? A, B, C, you know, super simple, super easy. So we're going to have some resources for you guys as well. But I want you guys to take a look, and I want you guys to think, okay, I need 6 women. And you know, they're not all gonna pull through, right? Some of them are going to get busy. Some of them are going to forget. Some of them are going to have to reschedule. So you might as well just schedule 10 of them. So you can make sure to pull out 6 sharing appointments. All right. So that is the conclusion for tonight. And you guys, did I miss anything? Do you need to add anything? Well, to stay on too, because we're going to be doing recognition. But do we have anything that I missed, guys? Reagan, Cheryl?
I think we might have some extra prizes for these 6 sharing appointments that you complete for all levels of consultants. So that will be in your resources. It will be outlined in that, and it might be in your workbook. I don't remember where it is, but just know extra prizes.
Ooh.
During the sharing
Look
appointments.
in your workbook, because when you hold those 6 appointments, it's on page 9. It's on page 9. So when you hold those appointments, you also get your pearls of sharing. Okay, so when you hold your first 3, you get the earrings. The next 3, you get the bracelet. And when you add your new team member, you get the matching necklace. And so that is our Pearls of Sharing program that Cheryl and Tanya both talked about, where you are, this is just getting comfortable. It's not that what we're sharing is complicated. It's really just getting in the habit of answering questions. And we want you to find the 6 sharpest women you know that are going to ask great questions. And then you're going to hear us answer those questions, and you're going to learn. And when you get to the point where you're like, oh, I knew all of that, I could have done this myself, then that's how you know you don't need us to do those with you anymore. But we don't just throw you out in the cold, and we're not doing that to limit you to say that you're not capable of going out and recruiting, because honestly, you are. You'll recruit with your enthusiasm and your love of the company and the products. We just want to equip you with the confidence to go and approach people that maybe you would be outside of your comfort zone normally, to do it again and again and again and feel comfortable answering questions. So you are going to love these sharing appointments, and you don't have to be scared. We're not going to make it awkward or put pressure on anyone. We're all very good at this. And we care a lot about how we make people feel. And so Cheryl's recruiter learned it from me. I was her director, and she passed it on to Cheryl, and Cheryl passed it on to Tanya, and we want to pass it on to you.
Awesome.
All right. Well, if there are no questions, I will stop the recording and we'll move on to our recognition portion.